All right, good morning, everyone. Welcome to Market Prep. I hope everyone's having an amazing morning. And actually, it's not even morning yet. I'm
Pre-market
so
prep.
I'm so used to saying that when that song comes on, that's the first thing comes out of my
I
mouth.
know, it's like
I'm like,
Pavlovian for us,
as
isn't
I'm
it?
saying, I'm like, it's not morning and it's not pre-market show. What are you saying? Okay, let's reverse that. Good afternoon, and as the sign said earlier, welcome to earnings coverage. So here we go. We got Jared, we got Peter, and also Brian will probably join us in just a second here. Man, how you get used to things, how the mind works. All right, Peter, how's the rest of the afternoon has been for you?
Well, I'm just getting back here into the markets. I was out for some meetings today, so came in to watch things dropping. It looks like we haven't had that bad of a day, frankly, but the afternoon looks like had a little bit of a topsy-turvy, right, up and down type session here. So we'll see what this earnings close brings us. I mean, look, we should be used to volatility by now in the markets, and I think Tesla's going to bring some. Well, you know what? I don't know what to expect. Jared's going to talk a little bit about that because we're in a little bit of a weird situation with Tesla all the way around. So tough to figure
Yeah,
out what we're going to do there.
I
Before
agree.
Tesla,
Yeah, go
we,
ahead.
we have SAP to entertain us for the 5 minutes before Tesla earnings come out. So yeah, we'll see what goes on.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, SAP also reporting not a great intraday trader, but it is scheduled for today, so it's a big one. Yeah, I'm with you, man. Tesla's going to be an interesting one. Cannot wait to hear the numbers and breakdown from Jared because this one, it has so much baggage attached to it with Elon, which you're right, we haven't heard anything from Dodge and Elon. I was looking at his ex, he hasn't really mentioned anything, so he's been very, very quiet. And I'm sure that's going to be one of the top questions coming into the call. What is his role going forward? Has anything changed? And are we focusing back on Tesla and the rest of his other companies? So that would be front and center. And what he answers there, the investors do take a lot of weight on. I'm not saying it's going to go, push higher, but investors do like when he refocuses, right? He did this before one time. Well, not as big as a distraction as the political thing has been, but he has done it before where he was not really paying attention. Oh, with Twitter. Remember that? When he was
Yep.
buying Twitter and all the back and forth, and eventually he bought it, did what he did, pushed to the side, put somebody else in charge, and then finally came back to Tesla. So let's see what happens today. But Jared, good to see you, man. What's the latest and greatest on this most awaited company earnings?
Oh, so we're jumping right into this, huh? Uh,
Yes. Or we
I
could
mean,
do SAP first if you like.
I'm kind of looking across some of the markup that I'm doing, and I've got some
Yeah.
ideas about how to trade Tesla. I'm mostly concerned that we're not going to get as much volatility as we're used to with this stock.
Yeah.
And with that comes maybe like a disappointing move overall. Um, my hope is, we do kind of see something that's a bit more of a breach on this thing. But right now, I'm going with the numbers that I see, and they're a little bit smaller than maybe what the technical traders are hoping for. So we'll
Yeah.
see.
Yeah. Right. We'll definitely see. Peter, as far as Tesla, anything we can add that we might not have talked about already? I mean, we talk about Tesla a lot, so I feel like a lot of us are pretty much up to date with everything going on Tesla related. But anything else we can add to this company that maybe we can highlight?
Yeah, probably a couple of things. Let's start with the numbers. The expectation is that Tesla's going to deliver in this quarterly report $21.85 billion dollars worth of revenue and an earnings per share of about 35 cents. That's the analyst consensus number. That being said, there's a big variability around that. So the actual number, who knows? I mean, it's a lot of questions as to where it's going to be. Um, but it's not just the earnings that we're looking for. People are going to be looking for information out of Elon and the management team as to what they're going to be doing facing international competition, the backlash of sales, which have dropped. So, deliveries and production numbers are going to be something that people are going to be asking about. And a number that normally we don't talk about at earnings, but I've seen it come up quite a number of times, is the actual resale value of Teslas, which doesn't affect the company directly, of course, in earnings, but indirectly, of course, affects the value value of the cars and the price people are willing to pay for a new one, especially knowing that Tesla in the last quarter has been the car that's lost more value than any other. So Tesla new car values lose an average of 17. I had the number here. Hold on a second. Let me find it again. Used 17.2% of their value, which is larger than their next nearest competitor. Here, let me see if I can put this up on the screen. We can look at this chart here together. Here we go. The next closest is the Porsche Taycan, which is their all-electric sedan, which I don't think sells very well. Anyways, 15%. You can see the Ford Explorer. Carlos, sorry, do you have a hybrid? Anyways, down 14%.
Got a regular model.
Anyways, but you can see, so the Model S down the most. We got the Model Y, the Model 3. They're all up here in the top. On average, Teslas have lost 10.1% value, which is the largest for any aggregate car manufacturer. So, these are all based on the resale market. And we know that there's been, well, let's just say a little bit of personal backlash going against Elon and some of the actions he's taken with Doge. A lot of it has nothing to do with Tesla itself, right? It's sort of just it's a splashover effect because of Elon's extracurricular activities. So I don't, it's tough to say what that's going to do. I think Elon would probably be well positioned to make some very strong statements about his focus on the company and what he's going to do going forward. The fact, if he gets up and talks at the analyst session this afternoon and just speaks strongly about the future, no matter what he says, will probably give at least a reassuring signal to investors that have been a little concerned that he's been very defocused and thus the company has been unfocused. But I don't know. I mean, the earnings, the numbers here on earnings are almost secondary to the show. The big show, and nobody knows what to expect out of the show. As Jared was saying earlier, I mean, if I look at the stock from a show perspective, it's not a pretty show. It is not looking bullish here. And speaking of which, they're estimating that this has been a record earnings or record earning opportunity for short sellers, where short sellers are up about $11.5 billion on Tesla over the last month. Is that a month? I think it's over the last quarter, which is second only. Actually, I think it's the estimate is higher. The second place is Nvidia, where short sellers were up and estimated. Now these are all estimates, right? Because it's actually tough to tell exactly how much short sellers made. But the estimate was on Nvidia. Short sellers made $9.4 billion off the stock. So Tesla's leading a number of lists that they don't really want to be leading. So, we got all that stuff as backdrop to this earnings, which just makes it that much more interesting. But will it translate into price action? It's like we've never been here before, and I can't think of any other company that's had a similar type position. So, it'll be fascinating to see. I mean, Tesla's got room to the downside if they want to move it. A sub 200 Tesla price, absolutely possible by the time the market opens tomorrow. We could also see Tesla closer to 300. I don't know. I'm looking forward to it. I'm just hoping there's an opportunity for me to trade it after hours, because I think that'll be exciting.
Yeah, I could not agree with you more. We saw today some kind of level being held here, which is, well, not today, in the last couple of weeks, a month or two, you could see this 228 level. It has been kind of holding pretty nice. Every time we came down here, we found a way to push higher, even just today, right? Pushing off that level in the last couple of times we've been there since the big drop, right? We had the big drop all the way since 480 up here. And I remember the headline we did on Monday for the pre-market show was yesterday. We were down 40%. People were like saying, no, it cannot be right. But we are. Yeah. Year to date, we are down 40% on Tesla. So it's wild, right? Might be a little more today, a little less. The stock is very volatile, obviously. But those numbers are pretty shocking. They're leading the way, I think, as far as the Max 7 for stock that's down this year. But for more data, Jared, what do you got for us as far as Tesla goes?
Yeah, so back into kind of looking at this from the lens of what do we do with the stock that's in the middle of everything? And Honestly, there's a couple ways we can think about it. I'll go with quantitative and maybe a little technical, but net net, we're going to need something a little bit bigger from this earnings in order to get something moving. So first things first, Tesla's expected move, and I don't know, Carlos, is there any way you can adjust the screen a bit, or is my screen coming in well?
Oh yeah, yeah. Let me fix that for you. That's because we had it for Lenny early today. But yeah, let me go ahead and reposition that.
Okay,
Let's see here, and we'll get the whole screen.
perfect. Yeah, so while he's zooming that in, Tesla's expected move today is about 28. And as always, I'm grabbing this number mostly from the option market's pricing of volatility. So if you're a little unfamiliar with expected moves, we're trying to understand what the option market is pricing the risk of trading Tesla for the next couple days will look like, of which we expect most of this volatility to be this afternoon. So when we see the pricing of volatility right into earnings, we're expecting a move similar to what we would normally get in a week worth of time. And hopefully we're getting something a little bit bigger because, the more it moves, the more potential for trade. Um, this number won't be set until right into the close, but 30 is about where I would roughly round this up to. And when you look at the stock right now, intraday, really nice rally. We actually filled the Thursday to Monday gap, which is a nice intraday opportunity. But we're looking to close somewhere around 235. Not exactly sure where it's going to close at this moment. And when I start to price out the upper and the lower expected move, that really only puts about 265 as the top side target and 205 as the downside target. So our technical range, especially the one that's very close to price, it could break lower, and 205 would kind of put some pressure on anyone who's been positioned in this area. 265 isn't really a breakout at this point. We've seen some candles kind of higher than that, and most of them have dropped price again. So for the most part, I don't expect to really get out of this range unless we have a big surprise. Another price that I think is really important here is actually from two earnings ago. And I went ahead and just marked the candle low to showcase how important it is, both from the range that we're currently trading, along with the context that we're using for Tesla. Two earnings ago, Tesla had basically its best run up that we had seen in recent trade, and we had a very strong trend that preceded it. Ever since it collapsed, this is the price that we've been trading. So essentially, anyone who had been a Tesla buyer past that earnings is either break even or slightly underwater at that price. And anyone who chased the trend is obviously down. That context is important today because if we're seeing selling from that price, that used to be a support. And it was more of a contextual support because it was the post earnings gap up. So I kind of think of like an inflective price, anything that's cutting through some of our price action. 242.65 would be a good place to kind of mark it. And you'll notice it's actually very close to today's high. So it's very important in the local price action, but it's also contextually important. Bigger picture, as Peter was mentioning, Tesla's chart is basically unreadable. It's a hot mess. There's obviously a high, there's some swing lows that we could talk about, but where we're currently located is kind of in the middle of nowhere. And that is further confirmed by pulling up a volume profile. Now I'm doing a 5-year look at Tesla right now, and 245 is where all the volume is. It's the highest node, and it's where VPOC is. So theoretically, this is a fair price for Tesla, which doesn't really put us at an edge, and more importantly, could go either way. Um, Moving higher would be great because I think just kind of relieving this range of some of the demand that's in it. But moving lower to me is kind of a 50-50 shot at this point, especially because of where we're located. So at this point, I would prefer to see the move to the expected areas and then more so play a reaction. Because right now, calling higher or lower, you're kind of just taking a bet in the middle of the range. And not only is that true on a weekly chart, but even on a daily chart, this is also VPOC. So even if I reduce the time, this is still where most of the volume is done over the past year. So no matter how you skin it, Tesla's kind of just had a fair price. And that's what the market has deemed to be a fair price. So not really expensive, not really cheap. We have some local ranges to work with, and I'm hoping for something bigger, but I'm not going to hold my breath. So this is what I'm expecting. It's about 30 bucks. And if we get something bigger, we have some ideas for maybe taking it to the top of the trading range. Or if we were to break down, there's definitely some swing lows we could target that are maybe double the expected move. As we were mentioning, what does it feel like to trade $180 Tesla these days? That might be in the cards. So we'll be looking for those opportunities today.
All right, awesome. Yeah, looking forward to. I know there should be some fireworks after hours today, but for those that can't get it today, tomorrow will be another day. For me, it'll be tomorrow. Like I don't usually trade earnings, but expecting some clean trading and hopefully to see some opportunities build up here. All right, Peter, let's jump into SAP's, the other one that's also reporting today that's significant. What's the latest and greatest there?
All right. Well, I don't even know what to say about this. So, everybody may not be familiar with SAP as a company. SAP is a software services company. They sell large enterprise class software that started as an accounting package, now is sort of expanded to be able to run your entire enterprise. Used to call it ERP tools. I'm sure there's a new term for it. Enterprise resource planning. Nowadays, I don't know what they call them, but bottom line, it's big, it's complex, it's ugly, it's messy, and once you're in it, you're locked in forever. So SAP is a German company. It is dual traded. Not a great trader intraday on the North American markets to begin with. So I think we're going to get very, very late after hours trading. We only have 2.2 million shares traded today. What's interesting about it is that in this software environment, well, in this market environment, I think that we may see some pretty, sort of stable earnings out of SAP. They typically have a good annuity business. What I'm most interested in is, are they going to risk a forecast? And that is something that a lot of North American companies have shied away from. I don't know what the rules are for a German-based company reporting in the North American market. So it'll be interesting to see if they do that. We may only get the number, right, their quarterly earnings, and not get any forecast at all. I haven't watched SAP a lot. So as we said, really, we're probably going to have 5 minutes of interest watching SAP, see what the numbers come out, see if it does anything. Then it'll be off to Tesla, because it comes out at 4:05. And then Tesla's out at 410. So our fun with SAP may be short lived. We'll see what it does, if anything.
Yeah. I see getting some move. Today looks better than most days, though. Probably because earnings is coming up, right? It seems a little bit nicer. Usually they don't get no volume. Jared, on this one, how exciting is this going to be at 4:05?
Not very excited.
I figure.
Yeah, so this one's a little harder to interpret. One, as Peter mentioned, it's an ADR, so American Depository. I forget what the R
Receipts.
always stands. Receipts. Yeah, there we go. Um, so not very well traded in the volume side. It doesn't have weekly options. And that is an unfortunate thing with reading something like the expected move. I'm looking at options that are going to expire 24 days out. And anyone who's trading the earnings would position in this series. It's just that the volatility won't necessarily be expressed overnight and potentially won't even really be a big impact until later. So oftentimes I don't like reading expected move if it's too far out unless I'm trading that much time. And with earnings, it's always about the reaction that we get. So if I were to just look at the earnings volatility that I can see and maybe the positioning in this series, the only thing that really stands out is maybe some 280 calls that are a little bit higher in the open interest. That gives it a bit more of a bullish lean, given that we are trading at around 250. And from a technical perspective, I was kind of looking at more of a channel that's been on the stock for quite a while. It seems as if we tried to get above the channel temporarily. We kind of fell back apart, back tested the channel range high, and then we fell to the range low. So if we were to see a move higher, this would almost be a recovery of the channel. And typically that's kind of where your more stable price action tends to be, even if it's a rising trend. So otherwise, yeah, very difficult on this one. I would say let's see if it even has volume overnight, but it might be good tomorrow to take a look at. Even though our post earning days don't appear to be super magnanimous. They're just candles in the larger picture of the technicals, but hoping for something on this one, just not as easy to read.
Yeah, that's a good point,
Candles in the
Jared.
wind.
Candles in the winds as Brian joins us. Good afternoon, Brian. That's a good point. A lot of the earnings have been overshadowed by tariffs and everything else. So it's kind of like getting just mulled over by all of that. So if any headline is out tomorrow, some of these would just get just kind of bulldozed by that. All right, perfect. We're all set. A few minutes to the market close here. Peter, I'm not sure if you found any of 1 to 10. This is usually your time.
I didn't. I was watching Apple, and I was looking for a setup, but it just kept moving down until look at it now. It's got to pop a little bit higher. See if it can close around 200.
Yeah,
but didn't end up getting a trade. No.
We had a nice little pullback right on the SPY and the Qs right at your 10-minute mark, and now they're going back up to the high.
Yeah, a couple of things bouncing back here.
So
I
it
see
seems-
Apple. I see Nvidia too.
Yeah,
Nvidia had a big bounce. Nice little bounce there.
yeah, seems to be a reoccurring trend over the last couple of days, trading days, where we get these big rallies right at the end of the day. This one kind of started late, but we've got 10 minutes in here roughly. We've had a pretty big rally off on the SPY and the Qs. So I don't know what that is, but I guess people who are maybe short covering their positions before the end of the day in case we get some random news coming out.
Yeah, every morning it's a surprise while we open up on those headlines.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Jared.
Tesla is not necessarily the company it used to be from a market cap perspective, but I do believe the overnight trade in the NASDAQ will be affected by Tesla, if not slightly. So, our expected move doesn't even put Tesla back into the trillionaire club again. So I'm not expecting Tesla to recover that status, but it is a mover and it's one of the larger names in the NASDAQ. That could be part of the positioning right now, just the overnight effect of Tesla's earnings.
Yeah, makes sense. All right, a couple of seconds here to the market close. So we'll have SAP first, which again, we don't expect a lot of fireworks on this one, but we'll watch it. And then Tesla 415, Peter, I believe.
Tesla 410.
410. Okay, even better. Excellent. Very good. All right, let's see how this market closes here as we're winding up to the bell. Checking the SPY. Green day for today. All right, let's take a look
Yes.
here. Brian, you any swing trades? Anything? How are you swing trading during this time, man? It's got to be a.
I know. I've been I pair, Andrew was talking about shorting gold today, and I kind of talked him out of it. But now it looks
Good
like
idea.
a lot of these gold and silver stocks kind of
I
pulled
shorted
back
gold
today.
today. Yeah, gold
Oh,
was a
did you?
great short today. Of course, yeah. We talked about it
Yeah.
yesterday.
Well,
Yeah.
I had some swing positions in that. I got all out of the gold and silver swing positions, precious metals. Looks like Tesla's popping up here a bit.
A little bit.
I'm not sure if any news is out yet on it.
Nope.
When are they releasing what? Right at 4 or 4:05?
410.
What's the
410.
timing on this? 4:10.
Yeah. It's funny, Brian, that you mentioned that. So you know what's going to happen here, right? Gold is going to be an amazing short, and we're not going to stop hearing hearing Andrew. I told you so. Brian,
I
maybe not
know.
take
I
this
know.
great trade.
That's right.
We're going to
I
hear that
know.
all day for the
I
next
know.
couple of
Yeah.
weeks.
Brian cost
Oh, I
me
know.
$1 million.
Yeah,
Uh,
could have cost him $100,000.
yeah. All right. In trading, I just saw he posted something on Instagram. By the way, you can follow him at bearable.com. I mean, he completely crushed the trade today. So he's good at that. The swing
Well, it
trades
definitely,
a little bit
yeah,
different.
definitely gold was extended. There's no question. I mean, it's
Oh, yeah.
due for a pullback for sure. And you just need a risk-off day like today
Yeah,
to
exactly.
trigger that.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some dynamics with gold futures rolling over. We hit 3,500 an ounce. It made sense
Yeah.
to try today, and it doesn't even have to be the all-time
Yep.
high. It's definitely a sell day on gold. So it was a great intraday
Yeah.
opportunity.
Yeah, and it actually, I don't know, what did spot, because I saw spot gold was still up around in the early afternoon, but I must have really rolled over.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah. We gold futures opened up at 3,500 an ounce and then started selling. So that should mark spot. Yeah.
So your friends over on YouTube, if you haven't done so already, smack that thumbs up. Really appreciate it. It helps. It lets us know. Hey, continue to do this when we do these live segments. That's your way to be able to tell us that you enjoy this, and we're gonna keep doing them. We're doing another one on Thursday. Is Apple? I'm sorry, not Apple. Alphabet. So Google's Thursday, and they're lined up with some other ones. I think Intel is another one that we've been watching pretty closely. So that should be interesting as well. Going into Thursday. So 2 of the Max 7 this week.
Bitcoin had a good day today with its prices up. Bitcoin is currently trading at $91,451.
Yeah,
So,
that is a bit of a breakout on Bitcoin.
mhm.
Yeah, I remember we spoke about CleanSpark earlier today, but man, their chart looked horrible. But yeah, all of them are up. You can see them here at the close. Had a great day today for many of these.
Starting to look across Tesla's level 2, just seeing where some of the larger sizes. There's some larger orders at about 242.30 right now, so a little higher than the current price. Not seeing any downside yet of size, but I'm waiting for the volume here.
242.
Yeah, I'm not on Bookmap. I'm not seeing any orders at all. Looks the book's pretty empty, except there's a bit of an order at 225, but it's not significant.
All right, a few seconds. I'm just gonna pull up SAP here and see what that does. Should be coming out at 4:05. Let's see if we get some
Any
action.
second now, theoretically, yeah.
Tesla popped up, filled the 2.
Let me get
Tesla's
a
getting a
hold.
bit of
Yeah. Yeah, we may get a nothing burger here on SAP. Tesla
there's no volume
is
on.
now, like, Tesla just put in a big, like, $10 candle, but that $10 candle was on
But there's
pretty.
there's no volume there.
Yeah, very few shares. So
It might be a reaction to the SAP earnings. I don't know. See,
possibly.
it's right back
Trying.
down to where it started.
Yeah, I don't expect Tesla to care about SAP one way or the other. There's a few banks that are coming out.
If SAP starts messing with Tesla's system, then it's time to run.
Yeah,
They start running
I
Teslas
don't.
on
I
SAP.
wonder what they. I wonder if they run SAP at Tesla.
No,
Uh,
Elon's too smart for that. No way. We ran that in my
I don't
company. You
know. They
don't
got to
want
run
that.
oh,
something.
oh,
You
here
don't
we
want
come
that
back up.
system. Oh,
Company's got to run off.
This is
Anyways, a couple
crazy.
of banks I see coming out, secondary banks like FSCB, FVC Bank Corp. FVCB is the ticker that came out with earnings. We've got First Community Bank, FCBC, that came out with earnings. I mean, there's a bunch of smaller firms we don't usually pay attention to here. SAP, I just see just got a little spike up. I don't see
yeah,
their numbers
nothing.
yet, but no
It's
volume.
dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No
Wah, wah,
volume
wah.
on SAP.
No.
Looking to trying to get short Tesla, but the trying to figure out what price to enter in.
Hmm.
I'm still
Well, we
finding
still have.
sellers against the earnings gap on Tesla, which about 242.60. It's kind of where I'm looking for the sellers.
Hmm.
There really isn't
So
a lot of volume here, like driving volume.
yeah, Matthew, I see your message here on OKLO. So admin is stepping down from there.
242. You got your 240. Oh, what's happening? Oh, darn it.
Yeah. See, they keep
There we go. And then
backing up into about 242, and then there some bids come
yeah,
out. So,
I thought I'd try
yeah,
and get some short at 242. The price moved away too quickly.
yeah, it's very hard to get filled unless you're just sitting on the limit side.
yeah, just sit there. Yeah.
All right. Well, we got some initial reports of Tesla. Looks like that their both revenue and earnings missed their numbers. So revenues 19.3 billion versus an estimated 21.3. So that's $2 billion off. It's pretty significant at that level. And then their earnings per
Yeah.
share came in at 27 cents versus a 41 cent consensus estimate. So and like a lot of companies, they interestingly say are not providing guidance, saying it's difficult to measure impacts of global trade policy. This uncertainty could impact demand in the near term. There is a large degree of irony of Elon saying that, of
Yeah,
course, but
I would say
anyways.
so. Yes.
So
Yes.
Irony. That's the word.
yeah. So I do finally just got SAP's numbers, which are out. It looks like they beat their numbers. Well, they missed on sales, slightly beat on bottom line earnings, but based on SAP's stock price, nobody cares.
Yeah, nobody
At least
cares. We're all just looking
no,
at
nobody
Tesla.
trading.
Nobody cares.
Bottom line.
Let's talk more about Tesla. So,
I'm looking for someone to take the 235 bids on Tesla. That there's sellers here, but they're not aggressive, so kind of
this is
hoping for
probably
something
the
to show
least
later.
action I've seen on a Tesla earnings in a very long time.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we haven't had. Have we had the numbers? We're just coming up on 3:10 now, or
Yeah, they came out
1 o'clock
early.
now.
Yeah, we got the numbers out.
Okay.
They missed the numbers.
God, and there's just nothing. This was another opportunity to do like an options butterfly. You could have sold some puts, sold some calls, We collected the premium on both if we're not going to move.
Just hung out in the middle, eh?
Yeah, it's kind of what I expected. I mean, there's no technical reason to expect a breakout, and then really
Yes.
I'm just trying to see if they're gonna fade what happened today, because we're still not really seeing like a good buyer on some of the price action that we have.
Right.
There it is.
All right, I have foolish as this may be, I took a couple of
here
shares
we
short at 238.
here
Yeah,
we
we're
go.
finally
Here we go.
finally
So we're
stepping
gonna
down here.
drop here.
Gotta get
Come on,
to
Tesla.
Looked like we were
235.
gonna drop there.
It's all about 235. No one's taken those bids yet.
It looks like we're gonna head lower here.
I hope so. Let's hope you're right.
When is their meeting today? Their call.
It's a good question.
I think that's when the real fireworks will begin.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think you're right.
There was some interesting conversation at the analyst call.
Yeah, I'm sure there will be comments and like, yeah, people want to hear about this low cost vehicle and
the robo taxis and their
yeah.
robots and
What's
all of that.
what's the name of the robot? Omnimax.
Omnimax. Isn't that like a
I don't know. He's got some name for it.
Omnimax? Isn't that like a
They're
cable
not.
TV channel or something?
Optimus,
I got out.
they said here.
I got out of break even
Optimus,
here on
that's it.
Tesla.
Yeah. I can't
I
even
don't
get
like
out
the-
of my short. Trapped right now. Okay.
Yeah.
Bigger loss than I
Yeah.
expected.
I don't like this.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not dealing with that anymore. Until we see directional order flow. Just
Yeah,
start
I
backing
thought
up.
maybe we were going to get the breakdown. I thought I got lucky with the entry, but it like popped down aggressively by $2 and then nothing. So
Mhm. Yeah,
I'm trying to see
235.
when the their earnings call is. Usually it's around like 5 o'clock West Coast time or 4 o'clock West. It's like it'll be this evening sometime, I think. But I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe it's 2 o'clock West Coast time, so it'll be 5 today. It's usually after, well after they release the numbers.
It looks like it's trying to pick a direction. Let's see if it can hold. But yeah, guys, I agree with all the comments you're saying here over on the YouTube chat. You know, the stock's been going down well before tariffs. You know, there's more to it than tariff. But if you're a company, that's what you hold on to during this time, because it is affecting everybody. If you have a bad year, you're having a bad year, you're gonna hold on to that. That's your out for this quarter at least. You know, blame it on tariffs.
5:30 Eastern
call?
is when the Q&A happens. So
Okay.
yeah, so we might
There's
get
not a lot of
get little.
well, that was a bit of a pop and drop there. It's really hard to trade.
Yeah, this thing doesn't want to go anywhere. Jerry, you said it. This thing is a mess.
Yeah,
These
I mean,
technicals are all messed up.
if your entries are good in this area, you can get some movement, but there isn't a lot of follow through yet. And I think every seller I'm seeing is resisting this price right here, which is that earnings gap from 2 quarters ago. So, you know, the first reaction to me is not really resistance. I think everybody is selling right here. It's just that there's no downside yet. So eventually one side might crack, and it's hard to define that until we get some better volume. So
And there's been really no no significant impact on the market. Some of the
Mm.
market, like Nvidia, Spire Qs, really haven't moved much since the close. So,
This might
yeah,
be better for tomorrow.
like you
It's one
said,
of those.
we might get a more of a reaction when the Q&A session starts.
Mm, yeah, so no expected move, no clear technicals except for the session high right now and the earnings gap. 235 is not letting go, so until that changes, I think tomorrow we'll kind of see where this decides to open, and then hopefully we get some more bias here.
Yeah, it's I mean, it's not budging, man. It's we mentioned in chat
Yeah.
it being priced in. Like everything that's been happening, we all know. We all knew it was gonna be bad. Everybody knows it's been selling off. It's just stuck here into. We want future directions, but they pulled the future directions. So it's what do you do?
Mm.
You know.
Yep.
Tesla. You
Mm.
at least let us down for today, but that can only be for another hour. So hopefully it'll be better. Again, I won't be trading. I won't be trading after hours anyway. So I'll look for tomorrow. Hopefully tomorrow we will get some good action on this and some volatility. But right now it's just stuck. It's messy. So if you're trading it, be careful. Bigger moves were at the beginning, at the start of this. Nice pop to 250, then the drop, and then since then it's just getting tighter and tighter. Not really doing anything.
And if you
Yeah.
remember when we first looked at the volume profile on this, we're at a bunch of value points, like the
Yeah.
bigger weekly chart and the daily chart. Everything is pretty much at value. So, as far as directionality is concerned, it's very difficult to move a stock when everybody thinks it's fairly priced. And, you know, the impact that we're seeing is minor compared to those types of participants who just kind of view the stock as like fair,
Yeah.
an average. But I didn't expect this little of volatility. I'm hoping for something bigger tomorrow.
Yeah, this is definitely a lot less than what we kind of were hoping.
Mhm.
Wow,
And
this is
Jared, what do you think of what? Hey, Jared, what do you think of SVXY? It's a short volatility. Kind of
I
looks interesting.
don't necessarily like playing the leverage for the short vol plays because you're kind of hoping that it's like a consistent drop in volatility as opposed to a bunch of back and forth. So
Yeah.
outside of like maybe a day or two of drop, we would want to see probably a strong buy in the market to get short vol. Just kind of reducing some of the volatility exposure that's been present.
Hmm. Wow. Canadian dollar has been getting really strong against the US. I don't know what the rest of the currencies doing, but well, I think
Uh,
I'm gonna call it a
yeah,
day
I
since there's
think
nothing,
so too, man. There's
really not
Tesla's
much happening. So
just stuck. Um,
it's gonna. They're just waiting for the call to get some more color on a lot of these projects that are in the works. So
huh.
I think that's really what's going on. I don't think anybody really expected a great quarter out of Tesla.
yeah, yeah.
Interesting.
Again, a lot of that baked in already. Given all the I mean, just look at this daily. It's been
Yeah.
insane. 40% down since the start of this year alone. Um, so yeah, it's
One of the
although it's funny,
number of
really quick,
announcements.
Peter. Like if you think about this, it's down 40%, but just right before the election, right? It's where it's at. It's where it's been. So it's a very interesting spot to be in on Tesla. So should be exciting after the call and tomorrow morning. Go ahead, Peter.
I was just going to say one of the announcements out of Tesla is how they are going to aggressively pursue their so-called unboxed manufacturing strategy, which is interesting. This is for the Cybercab. They're going to try and implement this on their production line, which, as opposed to the traditional sort of assembly line, right, where you get a whole bunch of components and you put them in piece by piece as the car moves down the assembly line. We've probably all seen images of that. They would instead build entire component elements that basically get snapped together like Lego to create the vehicle, which is interesting in that if they're successfully able to do that, that would benefit them over traditional manufacturing in a high tariff environment, because you might only have to move in big component blocks, right, as opposed to all the little pieces that get tariffed independently and then assembled in North America. Here you just have to pay the tariff on a single component element, right, that gets brought in. You might only have, like, I don't know, a dozen of them maybe plugging in to make the car
Yeah.
functional. So anyways,
Yeah.
that's speculation on my part, but it's interesting that they chose to include that as part of their headline releases as part of this earnings.
Well, they got to throw everything they can to get rid of some of the bad PR on this
No
thing.
kidding,
Some
yeah.
IKEA said, Ravi says, so an IKEA car, yeah, just ship me the parts. I'll put it together in my garage, right? Why not
Well, and
save?
it's been done before. I mean, there have been other manufacturers that have tried that in different forms. I talked about Mercedes before, that to get around previous tariff regimes, they built a factory somewhere in the southern U.S. and literally
Yeah.
assembled the car in another country, disassembled it, shipped it in parts, and then put it back together using IKEA-like instructions to make it. Therefore, it was built in America, even though it really wasn't. And then there's other companies like, was it Scion, or what was the other one, where they produced a modular car concept where you could sort of, in theory, you could order a car with all these different bolt-on pieces to make any vehicle you wanted out of their component. So, anyways, it's but nobody's successfully, sort of mass marketed a vehicle with any of these concepts. So we'll see what happens. I mean, hey, look, innovation is good. We'll see if they can make a real go of it, and if it actually changes the fortunes of Tesla. I mean, not over the short term, obviously, but yeah, over the long term, maybe. So keep in mind, guys, Tesla. So earnings, like we said, pretty boring. We're pretty much right at the same price we closed at. So didn't
Yeah.
really do much. The biggest movement, frankly, was prior to earnings coming out, just a couple of minutes prior, as people looked like they were speculating, but we ended up back at the same place. There might be some late after hours information coming out with, again, the conference call, the analyst conference starting at 5:30 p.m. That's when the Q&A, when analysts sort of get to talk to management and ask questions about the results and what they can expect. You sometimes get movement from that, the 5:30 through to 7 o'clock, when things tend to quiet down again. So there might be some interest. There might be some movement. I won't be sticking around for that. That's just too much for me. I'm going to call it a day. But
Yeah.
if you're
Yeah.
interested, then just know that's what's happening.
One you guys are mentioning a lot in chat is OKLO. Yeah, we do see the drop here. So this will be probably fun tomorrow as well. So Sam left. So I guess that was announced, and you can see the drop here. So we'll see tomorrow how that plays out. Usually doesn't get a lot of volume, but we traded in the past plenty of times. So let's see how lower this can go. With that news, obviously not good for them, as you're seeing it here. It's funny, as we're talking, Tesla seems to be doing something, getting below the VWAP now, starting to drop again. But again, just nothing to see here, nothing exciting. Jared, Brian, thank you so much for joining, guys. Anything else? Any last comments before we hop off?
No, I wish the expected move was hit a little bit better, but I'm going to leave it on my chart, and they're still potential for those prices to be met later. So
Yeah.
right now it's a little too tight. So I think we'll save it for another day.
Yep, absolutely. All right, excellent, guys. Guys, have a great rest of your evening. Again, we'll be back tomorrow. Should be a lot more fun then. Jared, Brian, thanks so much. Peter, thank you as well. And take care, guys. Have a great evening. We'll see you tomorrow.
Have a great night, everyone. Thanks, Carlos.